really wanted to be able to like sit down and like go through a move list, like, you know, that you had sent me before, you know, with Shenlong, because some of the stuff was kind of difficult to like to really break down, because some of it is like in beast form, out of beast form, and then hyper beast.
Yeah.
And then some of like the specific kind of cancels and stuff like that were kind of difficult to like, a little bit difficult to break down. And I was trying to like get those air cancels down, but they really weren't coming out on me. Like I think one of it's like up from a back turn, you have to go like, I think, what is it? I don't remember the exact move set, but I think it's from Shenlong's back turn, because he like throws him behind him, and he throws
the command throw.
Yeah, the command throw. I was having a hard time doing the air cancel from there, from like one of the moves off of that, because it's like it's you're in that back turn scenario. So my one regret before going to the podcast was I wish I could like have gone through, and like really gotten to sit down with you and like break it down how like each of these mechanics work. So I kind of feel like I have a stronger sense of the game, because it's like you can learn a lot just by, you know, what we did this week was we actually went through and we played Bloody Roar Extreme all week long. I mean, not every day, but, you know, a good portion of the week. And you know, I played against other people, and that's pretty much how I learned the game, so I can come and talk to you. But like just that in-depth like analysis of like this is how it's played at that high level is like not always something that, you know, you can always get a grasp of, like if you're not like really trying to dig into like the meat and potatoes of the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes time.
But yeah, there was like stuff I didn't even know about. Like I didn't know that like Shenlong had that command grab. Like I was like, what? He has a command grab? And then, you know, it's like, it's pretty cool. You know, kind of. I was watching like lots of, I love gameplay and stuff. And, you know, you kind of. I feel like it's the only real way to get an appreciation of a fighting game is like if you're you know, really looking at the competitive scene of one, you know, and just being like, okay, so this is how the game is played. Like, this is how you played it when you were a kid with your friends, but there's nothing wrong with that. But like,
no, not at all.
It brings that whole other world to it, and that's what I really love about like, you know, getting to talk with people like you about like, ooh, you know, this is what like Shenlong should be played like, you know, because you know that's like one of the hardest things about fighting games, and I know you got to know that is realizing like, oh yeah, you can pick up a controller, you can mash, but that's not necessarily how you should play Storm, you know, Cyclops or whatever in Marvel 2, whatever it may be, you know?
Yeah.
All I do is mash. Are you targeting me?
I mean, like, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with mashing.
Just because I picked Xion or whatever and just beat the crap out of you with a bug mash, fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, fair enough. Let me really check volumes here really quick. I want to make sure you're up, because you were at 70%. So
I swear I accidentally picked the zoner or something. Those range freaking attacks. Swords.
Am I good?
You're good. Yeah, you're definitely good.
Oh, Jesus. Backlog, you're very loud now.
Yeah, I apologize. I actually just pulled my microphone in front because it wasn't there at first. Anyway.
Fair enough.
So guys, welcome to the Backlog Podcast number 62. I'm Matt.
Quintessence.
And today, sorry about that, sir, we're joined by JeriTheOG, aka jerimiahisaiah.
No!
Oh no!
He tried so hard!
I tried so hard. Combo Breaker King, man. This year and last year, I would say you won Combo Breaker. Would you say that Combo Breaker is like the number one platform for Bloody Roar right now?
I'm gonna say yes, just simply due to the fact that Combo Breaker is a place where I feel like every, if not almost every fighting game can get a chance to have their respective spotlight that they deserve, especially if a niche community is pushing for their game to be viewed in a different light. Last year it was in Combo Breaker because Rick, the guy that owns the event, wanted it to be. He always wanted Bloody Roar to be there. He had people request for Bloody Roar to be at the event since like 2012, 2011, way back in the day, and like
wow,
and like a decade later, he finally made it happen just because he wanted it. He wanted to see it. It was the game he chose in this rotation of special retro tournaments that he wanted. I was at work when I found out about it, and I saw that Primal Fury was at the end of the thing, at the end of the trailer, and I was like, yo, I just registered instinctively. I didn't even think about it. I was at work when I did it too. Bought the ticket, and then eventually I added him to my contacts on Discord, and I was telling him about Extreme, which is Primal Fury, but an updated version of it. Just think of it like a patch without like downloading a patch. It's just a re-release of the same game, but there's gameplay tweaks and balances made, changes made, and an additional turn-illegal character, which is Fang, who I have on my TV screen here from the Bloody Roar manga. But yeah, so me, Nan, and Newbie and a few others, we all told him like, hey, like switch it to Extreme. It's still the same game, but it's just a better version of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wanted it there, and then this year I brought it back under my volition as a side tournament, since Primal Rage took the special retro tournament spotlight this year.
Okay. So what out of curiosity, like why was there no one like hosting Bloody Roar for Evo this year as well?
That's just because that's simply just due to nobody having the funds to do that for Vortex Gallery. However, I will mention which is how you run like the side tournaments for your game at Evo. I will say this though, one of my friend the Dark Ace, shout out to him. He went to Evo this year, and Rick, the guy I mentioned earlier who owns Combo Breaker or runs it anyway, he's the general manager at Evo, which you may have known already. But he, Dark Ace, my friend Dark Ace, approached Rick and actually asked him about Bloody Roar being at Evo, and he was fine with it. He was cool with it. So it's not impossible. It's definitely like, in a way, it could be a necessity for the series at some point. But next year, for 2024, I'm gonna bring Bloody Roar Extreme back to Combo Breaker again. But it's gonna be the last time I do it under my volition, because for reasons I can get into probably later, but I want to give it one more run at Combo Breaker next year. As far as other tournaments go, I feel like, here's the thing with me, actually I just remembered, when it comes to bringing Bloody Roar to events beyond Combo Breaker, it would be nice. I support it, I would do it, but I also feel like how should I word this? I feel like it would be better for Bloody Roar to be at other events as a main stage, like how it was at Combo Breaker for the first time ever, like as a main stage last year. I feel like if people wanted it at CEO or Evo or whatever, let it take maybe not Evo, because that's crazy, but like, CEO at least, put it on the big stage first, see how it does, and then obviously another game could take its place for the next year, but then I could bring it back, or whoever else is willing to do it can bring it back as a side tournament. I feel like what really helped Bloody Roar get more exposure or recognition was the fact that it was on a main stage, the big stage for last year, rather than it being a side tournament this year. So if it's gonna debut at a tournament, let its presence like have a spot.
Right.
I don't want to bring it as a side tournament because that's a risk financially, and there's just a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. So I would do it, but that is very expensive, especially for Evo.
I mean, I know that like at Evo like this year, like we had a couple of people on here in the past who I'm sure oh my god, I feel so bad. I'm like GP Bear, who like runs Super Dragon Ball Z.
That's my boy. Yeah.
We GP Bear has been on here. We had Chair G Tables on here. Both of them were running their respective games at Evo this year because I think they had like the bring your own controller type thing this year, which I guess I hear like didn't run super smooth. But from what like Chair had said to me, it would like, you know, it was a little, you know, because I guess Vortex Gallery wasn't there or something, or maybe they were. I don't know the exact things, but yeah, I was totally expecting like a Bloody Roar kind of side tournament going on, and I remember during Evo, I was hosting a watch party here in the Discord, and I was looking for it. I was man, like, where's Bloody Roar? I want to find it. It was like the one other fighting game I wanted to see. I was so bummed when I didn't see it. But hey, you know, like maybe somebody else will step up. And I also know like it can be definitely hard on somebody if it's like only you know, doing all of the work for an entire community to host a game. Like, yeah, that sounds like it can definitely be exhausting for sure.
Well, it shouldn't just be one person, right?
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Other people should step up and.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
So, kind of like I wanna delve more into like the scene a little bit later on, but so Jeri, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the FGC, and what brought you into playing Bloody Roar?
Okay. So, I'll tell you about myself. For one, I was never expecting to play Bloody Roar at a high level to begin with. I started off on YouTube 11 years ago. Was it 12 years ago? I think it was 12 years ago. Yeah, it was 12 years ago. 2011. I started doing Pokemon videos, then I started doing PlayStation All-Stars videos, and Smash Brothers, then Crash Bandicoot, and then Crash Bandicoot became like my niche. Then eventually, Bloody Roar came around with my friend Victor, aka Voice Legend, shout out to you. He introduced me to Bloody Roar. We were just talking about it casually on Discord at the time, I think, or even Skype maybe. I think it was Discord though. And he sent me a render of Uranus, the broken boss character that's banned. And I thought she reminded me of Aqua from Kingdom Hearts because of the hair color.
Oh, totally.
Body type. Yeah, and I thought they looked a bit similar, so I was like, yo, she looks cool. And then he was showing me more stuff with Bloody Roar 3, and then my boy Acid Monkey Cart, he got me Bloody Roar 3 for Christmas, in 2017, and then that's when I started like trying to understand the game a bit more. I thought it was really cool, and then I did a Bloody Roar Redemption video, and then in 2018, that's when I dabbled online a bit, and since 2018, I've just been non-stop playing with Daily Rave Neo, Newbie EX, Nanny X, Von Slicer, Don Presses Buttons. So many people, even people that's in South America or Central America, I've been playing with a lot. And because of Bloody Roar, actually, like, you know, I got a girlfriend because of that series. And,
whoa.
Yeah, like this series like changed my life. You know, I'm living with people that are also huge Bloody Roar heads. So like that series has definitely like shifted everything. But because of the potential that I saw in the series, you know, when it, again, like going back to my Crash Bandicoot stuff that I did, my whole thing was doing videos on the series, campaigning it to return because it was dormant for 8 years. There wasn't a new Crash Bandicoot title since 2008, which was Mind Over Mutant on the 360 and Wii and DS. And I think the Game Boy, but maybe not. I know that shit was on the BlackBerry though.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, you know, so with Bloody Roar, it was the same thing. Like I campaigned for something to happen. I wanted something to happen. One of my biggest videos I did was the Bloody Roar 5 on PS4 in 2017 because it was going to be the series' 20th anniversary. So that just made sense in my head. That's just how my brain works. Worked, I guess, at the time. That's just how I thought. That's how I theorized. It was fun discussion at the time for me. That video was done in 2015. So it was around that year I was introduced to Bloody Roar. Then 2017, I got 3 from my friend Acid for Christmas. And then 2018, I played Primal Fury on stream. Or maybe it was in 2017, somewhere around there, 17 or 18. I played Primal Fury on stream with Yuri. I was playing with Yuriko. And then I joined the Discord. And from 2018 onwards, I've just been playing since then. Bloody Roar 2 was actually the first Bloody Roar game I played. And the first character I played was Yuriko no Nomura and Alice Tsukigami. Those were the two. Those were like my 2 day ones. I just really thought they were cool, and I love the aesthetic and the presentation into. So that's why I like, that was my first introduction to the series, and that game holds a special place in my heart, even if I have my critiques about the game, but it's still a good game.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that should answer a majority of those questions. It was kind of crazy because I think I wouldn't have gotten out of Baltimore. I'm not gonna say where I'm at now on stream, but
Good idea.
if I think if it wasn't for Bloody Roar, I don't think I would even be away from that destructive environment I was living in for 24 or 23 years of my life.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a shifter.
It's crazy how much your life can change because of like gaming, and I can definitely speak for myself too, how much my life has changed because of gaming in general and just streaming and all the people I've met. It's kind of wild, and so I can totally definitely relate to that too. Like all the interesting people I met in the past like 3 years, and like for anybody who's definitely in a rough spot wherever it may be, like you might be in a rough spot now, but like one decision can just change your entire life 3 years from now, 2 years from now, whatever it may be, a year. You never know where you're really gonna be. So yeah, like Bloody Roar can be that game for you. Streaming can be that thing for you. So definitely, for real, like I feel like I can definitely relate to that.
It's like that community aspect,
That's real. I think that's what it is. I think it's like once you kind of find a community and people that like really support you, it can be life changing.
Definitely.
So like so you were saying like you kind of were making retrospectives. So like when did you kind of get into making guides and tutorials and things? And like when did you learn how to, like edit videos? Was that kind of like all hand in hand? Did that all happen at the same time?
So are these two separate questions? Like, are you asking me like when did I start? Like, is the editing process of the question a part of the guide video stuff?
Yeah, like how did you kind of like get into making tutorials? I'll just play it. I'll make it that simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so for Bloody Roar Extreme like guide videos, I'm gonna be honest, I've been doing those since I think 2019 or 2020, and there have been so many times I can't even count on my freaking hands on how many times I've like saw a guide, I had it out on YouTube, and then I realized there was some things I missed or something I got wrong, and I had to delete it and completely redo the whole thing, just because like it's information for a fighting game that doesn't explain anything.
Yes.
So it's very like taxing to do the video, but also like I do this to myself. Like there may be a certain way I want to present the video so that it's interesting and not boring, or it's engaging. So with the Dolphin emulator, with the free look camera, I have just freedom to do that. And I've asked questions to a community member named Newbie. If there's something I'm not quite understanding 100%, I'll ask him about it, and I'll just take that, put it in the video, and then that's basically it. Because he's like he has arguably like more knowledge. He has a wealth of knowledge on the game. The only thing is that like he doesn't do what I'm doing. So like I'm taking what he's telling me and I'm painting the image. Basically, that's what I'm doing. At least that's what I've done for like the past 3 or 4 guide videos that I've remade or have just done new entirely. The editing process for that is, again, it like varies, because I could be straightforward and do it like how I did the guide video with the grapplers, where like it's just the one perspective, or I can just go crazy with it like I did with the Tiger Knee Cancels video, where there was like different angles and just a bunch of like so I think that
fancy.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy your tutorials, because I was watching a bunch of them, and that's why I was like trying to like encapsulate the ideas that you were kind of putting in there.
Yeah.
honestly, I'm so shocked that so many people there are so few Bloody Roar tutorials on YouTube.
There's like nothing, right?
It's
The
an
only-
insanely untapped,
crazy.
you know.
Here's the thing. There is a Mizumi wiki that that Newbie and Gumblaze have been like working on. It's still under construction. It's like 75 or 65% done. There's still a lot that needs to be added to it. They're slowly chipping away at it. However, here's the thing. Being realistic here, nobody reads. Nobody wants to read. The easiest way of like consuming content for a game that you are interested in, that you want to learn, is through video formats.
Yeah.
I appreciate any and all efforts of like, you know, information for a video game or a fighting game, but ideally you want to present that in a video, because when you're playing a fighting game, watching, like, you're trying to do what you're seeing other people do, but if you don't know how to do that, you need to go somewhere to learn how to do those things.
Yeah.
And like, I've been like told from one of my friends, July Saline, he's a Chronos player. He wants me, like, he mentioned like if I did a video regarding like key moves for certain characters, on like what moves you should be using the most common, what moves are unsafe, what moves aren't safe. Nothing too crazy or too in depth. Not like 20-minute analysis guide videos on a single character. I'm not doing that, just simply due to the fact that like I don't play everyone on the roster, for one, and two, that's just too much for one person, and like I don't want to do that. And like I have my 3 characters, Yuriko, Alice, and Fang, to iron out and polish and perfect in my, like, I gotta worry about that, you know. So I feel like people should learn how the game works first before understanding a character. But I don't play every character in the game, so doing guide videos for every single character, it's dead. Not for me anyway. I don't want to do that.
I would love to see that personally. If someone out there
I would
like
too.
had the energy to, like, you know, said like, this is how you play stun. This is the effective way to play stun. And they just made like a 15-minute video on it, whatever it may be. You know, something like
I
Dash.
don't even think it'd be
Dash
like
Fight does it.
15 minutes. It could be like 5 minutes long. You just go over like the basics and you're done.
Stun Part 1. Whatever.
No, please.
I mean, I would love that, but I mean,
A stun gun.
I can definitely see how like showing those like elements of fundamentals being more important overall, but you also know like those are the same people. Most people, like surface level, are just gonna be like, how do I play stun? And they're gonna be looking for that stun gameplay, and they're gonna be looking for that when they're looking for a tutorial. So I can definitely see how like there's like 2 edges to things. It's like how most people just look up like combo tutorials on how to play like Ryu or something like that, right? They're not looking for like how do I play footsies. It's like, nah, I don't want, give me the flashy stuff. Come on, man. You know what I mean? I get it.
I'll get a launch at some point. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We'll definitely launch them.
Launch 'em for sure.
So, but yeah, no, that's definitely can be completely exhausting, and I totally understand that. So then how did, I don't know how, it sounds like you're very involved with the Bloody Roar Discord, and do you know how, like, were you a part of the creation of that, or were you just kind of like brought into it, and then how did you get involved with the Bloody Roar Discord?
I got involved with the Bloody Roar Discord by Deadly Rave Neo. Shout out to him. He invited me to join the server to learn how to play the game properly, because what I was doing in my Yuriko gameplay showcase video with fake combos that were not real at all, he wanted me to join to show me like what is real, what isn't real, you know. So I looked around, tried to find it, found it on Nan, the person I fought in Grands last year and this year. I found it on her Twitch, joined it in 2018 on April 5th, I believe. Did I say 2018? Yeah, April 5th, 2018, I hopped in the server, and that was it. Deadly Rave Neo, he owned the server, and then he gave it to me, I believe, for my 21st birthday. It was after I dropped my Bloody Roar Revival Plan video, which was me basically telling people, like, hey, you can play Bloody Roar online with Extreme, and me and my boy SCXCR, we discussed, like, I had him in the portion of the video where he was discussing like what they could do for a new game, at least in terms of like the narrative and stuff like that. And even before that, in 2018, I did a video with voice parodies, or voice for short. He did me and him and my friend Andre, we did a video in 2018 talking about how they could approach a new Bloody Roar and stuff. So there was a couple times that I talked about Bloody Roar, like a new one, but I'm going a bit off topic. It was April in 2018 when I hopped in the server, and eventually I got ownership of the server from Daily Raven Neo. He gave it to me as a birthday present for my 21st birthday, I believe so.
Okay.
For 2020, 22nd birthday in 2020. It was 2019 or 2020 when he did that. Okay. So that's how I got involved.
And then I suppose, like, what are your future goals and accomplishments you want for Bloody Roar? Like, this could be like tournament goals, this could be like community goals, like something kind of like basically the future of what you want to do with Bloody Roar.
Well, there is this tournament thing that I've had in the back of my mind for a while. It used to be called Bloodthirsty Bastards, because on the Bloody Roar 2V jump book from Japan, if you look like in the back of it, where Yugo's standing, or if, like, unwrap the book a certain way, it's like a full like actual artwork. Yugo is actually like in an alleyway or something, and on the back of it, like, there's graffiti on the wall that says Bloodthirsty Bastard. So like it's the human saying that about zoanthropes.
Yeah.
And that's what I had as like a tournament brand at one point, but then eventually this year I like thought about it and I just changed it to Bloodthirsty Beasts because it's more appropriate. It's more PG friendly for the algorithm and stuff. So I got the rebrand changed like visually. There's a new logo. I got a edited like introduction, like intro for it that I made for it. It's similar to the Hamatura anime opening. And I have like the graphics for like the tournament layout and stuff. I have everything. It's just a matter of like running it and how I want to do it. The way I would do it is I would basically have people, like, we would run the tournament offline, and I would it would be online, but like we wouldn't stream it. It would be like a YouTube only thing, just because streaming and having like 3 people in the lobby on Dolphin could be a nightmare.
Yeah,
it could be a complete disaster. So having it, so not streaming it, and just having people fight, give them like 5 days, maybe 4 days to fight. Once they're done, they can record. Once they're done fighting, they send us the inputs, because you can record your inputs when you're fighting online. Send us the file, we'll review it, make sure it knows there's no desyncs or anything happening. Tell us the score, we'll update the bracket, whatever, and whoever wins gets their prize, and then we'll present it on YouTube with me recording it, and that's basically how I want to do that. As far as like Duck Station goes, because there's a whole Duck Station rollback thing in development. I played the Bloody Roar 2 redub on there with rollback against Daily Raven Neo not that long ago, and it's actually pretty good. There is a spectator option on the lobby system for that, so I feel like that would be a lot easier too, to just bring Bloody Roar 2, preferably the redub anyway, like on the tournament thing. Even though it was primarily made for Extreme, I feel like having it for Bloody Roar 2 would be pretty cool too. So that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, I think definitely. I mean, we could definitely say it is that like Bloody Roar Extreme needs some kind of rollback.
Okay, so I agree with that.
Okay,
I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I will say, for starters, like there's like 3 different ways this game could get a like breath of fresh air. You could breathe new life into it, rather. Rollback.
Yep.
A texture mod, like oh shit, hold on.
Whoa, all good.
There it is.
All right,
that's the cue.
we got it. We got the cue.
I mean, watching rollback save a bunch of games is always amazing.
Yeah,
so it'd be fantastic if we somehow got rollback into Extreme.
It's crazy that I'm sorry. It's crazy that PS1 got rollback before Dolphin did. You know?
Yeah, it is. Also, yeah, I'm good now. Yeah, the garage door, that is done now.
Oh,
What
welcome
I was
back,
saying-
you know?
Yeah. What I was saying was, yeah, no, that is crazy that PS1 got rolled back before the GameCube game, the GameCube emulator did. But also, I mean, it kind of did before PS1 because of Slippy with Melee and all that.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
but that's a specific own build. It's not a general thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 3 ways you could breathe new life into Bloody Roar Extreme is like with a texture mod like overhaul where you give everyone like a cel shaded look, kind of like what Melee did with every character and the stages and the UI. All that just looks much more sleeker. It looks cool, looks slicker. It might not be appealing to everybody, but cool. You know what I mean?
Just like a nice fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, basically that.
Make it
for
pretty.
Extreme. Yeah, you could do that for Extreme. You could add a character.
Oh,
You could or add rollback. You know, Nagi from the unfortunate Bloody Roar 4.
Yeah.
She was actually a work in progress of getting into Bloody Roar Extreme. My friend Alec, who I've worked with in the past, he's done like the edits for my combo breaker, like photo shoot things. I don't know if you've seen those before. Probably will have to look at it in post or whatever, but he's like restructured her face. He ain't even add polygons to her or anything. He just restructured what was already there, and she looks pretty. She looks normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it goes to show that, you know, we don't need any suits to do anything, you know, to reinvigorate and respect the series is, you know, resurgence.
Yeah. I mean,
You know, even though we would like that or want that.
it could definitely be like Marvel 3. You know, like Marvel
Yeah.
3, like getting the like Ken and Cyclops and, you know, like that's so cool. That's like one of the coolest things to come out of fighting games in the past 5 years is just how they're, you know, breathing new life into Marvel 3. You know, I would like to see them make it into the official, I don't think it'll ever happen, but I would like to see to be the official tournament version, or at least a side tournament version where people are playing that and those characters are, it's considered to be legit. But then again, we're also talking about like people doing that when they're not working their real job, you know, and so it becomes a whole thing. I mean,
well, we've
but-
seen it
but
happen
we can dream.
before with like Project M. Project M for a while was like seen as, hey, this is like the version of Melee to play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Brawl, right? The version of Brawl,
Well, yeah, but it was Brawl Melee.
Brawl Melee. Oh yeah, that's fair.
It was modded over Brawl, but inspired by Melee's
Yeah.
gameplay, competitive
Yeah.
gameplay.
I think they took out tripping, right? Was like one of the big things that they
Yes.
did,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was one of the first things they did.
which is insane.
Sped up the game, took out tripping.
Okay, so kind of like, I have a couple more questions here, but I'm gonna like weave it into everything else. So kind of like,
I had a more bleak question.
oh, go ahead.
What?
Yeah.
Do you think that the franchise has been practically abandoned by the developers at this point?
Well, the developers are aiding, and they're contracted to work with Nintendo, Takara, don't know how to pronounce them, Capcom, Nintendo, and Konami. So if Konami really wanted to, since they've been outsourcing their games recently, if they wanted to do something with the Bloody Roar IP, it would be something new anyway. They could outsource the development, aiding. Like Starfield that just dropped is reusing the same engine that has been used for Fallout games for like 20 years. So
Yup.
it's not far fetched to say that if aiding were to return to the Bloody Roar series development wise anyway, because Hudson produced it alongside aiding, but aiding were the ones like that really made the meat and potatoes of it. It was their first fighting game series. Then eventually, you know, Konami absorbed Hudson and stuff like that. I don't want to get too much into that, but aiding the developers specifically, they could reuse the Bloody Roar engine and update or tweak it and drop a new one. Now, to say that if it would be bad, that's a different discussion entirely, but Konami ever since they absorbed Hudson Soft in 2012, I feel as though they mainly did it profit off Bomberman series, since that was Hudson's Mario essentially.
Yeah.
Bloody Roar is not a popular franchise, and being as though that the last game in the series did not sell that well, then again it was over almost 20 years ago. It's very possible that they don't see any benefit to bringing it back, but you know, that was a different time, and we're in a time where people are extremely vocal about what they want. There's petitions out there, there's countless videos out there, and I know they see everything in regards to Bloody Roar on Twitter, even if they don't say anything. The senior brand manager, I forget his name, but he was speaking to Hip Hop Gamer, a friend of mine, and he legit mentioned out of his mouth, like, the Hudson Soft and the Konami properties are not forgotten, they're just inactive.
Yeah.
You know, this goes for Suikoden and Bloody Roar. It came right out of his mouth. It's the first time I ever heard, like, Bloody Roar come out of a Konami person's mouth. And I'm like, okay. So they're definitely aware. And they renewed the trademark back in 2020. I was the first one to report that because I was talking to my friend Casey Mongelo about Bloody Roar, and I checked the trademark just out of curiosity. And then boom, I did the video, and then boom, Chameleon did his video where he just took my thumbnail that I made and slapped his face on top of it, and didn't go to my YouTube and see that there was any, you know, there was somebody out there campaigning for Bloody Roar. You know, yeah, that they know. The quick answer is yes. No, I don't think they're.
You don't think it's been shelved?
I don't think it's been shelved. It's more so of a, like, they don't know what to do, or they don't have time for it right now. That's how I feel personally. I definitely acknowledge it.
I also want to say, like,
anyway,
like that's not. I've had that same thing happen to me. Actually, with K-Swiss. What's his name? The Tekken player.
I think
K-Wiss?
I think that's his name. I'm not
K-Wiss.
Yeah, K-Wiss. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. He literally, like. So that's the thing, is like it's really annoying because if you're a smaller creator, bigger creators can literally take your idea, and like no one's gonna notice that they took your idea, or they took your, you know, your video for an idea, because they can literally just look through it. Oh, hey, look, this person had this idea. I'm a bigger creator, you know, and then they just overshadow your idea altogether. It's pretty terrible that happens still, but yeah, I guess that's the power, you know, that they wield. But yeah, kind of like I was about to kind of go over the history of Bloody Roar a little bit before, you know, and we can kind of delve a little bit more into these themes before. So yeah, obviously, Bloody Roar is developed by Aiding, which is known for their Naruto Clash of Ninja games, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, Fate Unlimited, Code, which I thought was really cool, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, DNF Duel, and I threw in kind of Castlevania Judgment, because I find these all to be very different and unique games. And the company is overall kind of known for its ability to make licensed property titles, like solid anime licensed property titles. I mean, it's not the, you know, kind of churned out, you know, games we kind of get today. They really put time into a lot of their games, which, you know, you can definitely appreciate, and, you know, kind of took like very creative takes on the series. But Bloody Roar itself began in 1997, and it was known as Beastorizer initially, which I love that name. It's so stupid, but I think it's cool. I love it. It's so dumb. And then, you know,
Beastorizer.
The kind of the basic premise is these anthropomorphic like fighters have the ability to transform to half human, half animal creatures known as zoanthropes. Named Bloody, but it changed its name to Bloody Roar when ported to the PlayStation in 1998, which kind of became its permanent title there at that time. I believe they had a couple of different arcade ports of the game, but I could be wrong. These could also just be the European title, because here I have Bloody Roar, Bloody Roar Hyper Beast Duel, which might be European. Bloody Roar 2.
That's the Japanese.
Right? That's the Japanese title.
Oh.
Bloody Roar 2. Bloody Roar 2 The New Breed. Bloody Roar 2 Bringers of the New Age.
Yeah.
Bloody Roar. Bloody Roar 2 came out in 1999. Bloody Roar 3 in 2000. Primal Fury was in 2002, so it was Extreme, which is I'm not sure if that's correct or not.
2000. I believe Primal Fury was actually in 2001 because it was the second fighting game right next to Melee on the GameCube. Extreme happened afterwards in 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that makes sense. And then of course, Extreme was later released, I think maybe a year later onto the Xbox.
Yeah, it was 2003 on the Xbox.
And then we got Bloody Roar 4 in 2003, the same year on the PlayStation 2. So a little bit spotty. I'm kind of the opinion that Primal Fury and Extreme is probably the peak of the series, gameplay wise.
Of course.
I personally started with 3, but that was because I only had a PS2 and my friends had a GameCube, and I was like, I gotta learn how to play this game so I can beat them. So it's the only way I can learn. But yeah, definitely a really solid release schedule here, and I suppose this is probably a good time to ask you, why do you think Bloody Roar 4 did so poorly? Why is it such a poorly received game?
All right, so first and foremost, there is one interesting fact that you didn't mention.
Okay, go on.
After Bloody Roar 4 happened, Yugo was actually included in DreamWorks TV World Fighters, which was a Japan-only exclusive, Smash Brothers inspired type of game. Yugo could fight Optimus Prime, one of the protagonists is from Beyblade, Solid Snake, Bomberman, Takara doll girl character, and Simon Belmont. So the Bloody Roar did have something happen after Bloody Roar 4, but after that, no, there was nothing else. But
pass me that Optimus.
Yeah, but going back to the question of why Bloody Roar 4 did so poorly.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could have been a bunch of there could have been a variety of reasons as to why. I mean, we don't know why that game turned out the way it did. It felt like with every Bloody Roar iteration, there was an improvement in some area, even if they were lacking in another spot.
Yeah.
Bloody Roar 1, while you couldn't tech throws in that game, for Aiden's first fighting game, that game was very solid. I mean, you had the rave system, which basically increases the speed of your character, and you had any cancel points, so you could cancel any normal you wanted. And then in Bloody Roar 2, they finally added grab breaking, and you could do beast drives now. You could either do the motions or you could do a one-button beast drive. There was the story mode, which was pretty cool. It was pretty good. The training mode was pretty weird in Bloody Roar 2, but I mean, nobody plays BR2 to lab or train in it, so it's not a big deal. Bloody Roar 3 introduced 3 hidden beast drives for Long, Buzuzima, China / Marvel, and second beast drives for every character overall. They brought back Rave, but named from Bloody Roar 1, but named it Hyper Beast. You had 12 seconds to just go crazy, essentially. And after that, after your hyper runs out, you can't go back into your beast form for the rest of the match. Not in round 2 or round 3. That was it. You gotta stay inhuman. And then in Bloody Roar Primal Fury / Extreme, I'm just gonna say Extreme. They gave characters their own attributes or traits to their hyper, basically evolving the beast system even more. And you could hyper when your beast gauge isn't full, just like you. Oh, I didn't mention that for Bloody Roar 3. You can only hyper in your human form. And your beast gauge needed to be full. Your beast gauge needed to be full in Bloody Roar 3 in order to go hyper. There was air chains in Bloody Roar 3 as well. They introduced that. But yeah, in Bloody Roar Extreme, you know, you could hyper whenever you wanted, essentially. But your health is sacrificed if your beast gauge is full. But if it is full, you don't sacrifice health when you go hyper. Therefore, you know, giving you a bit more incentive to use your character at their best. It legitimately felt like as each game went on. Oh right, and Extreme entered like Tiger and all that crap. But you couldn't do that in 3. But yeah, you do TK canceling and Bloody Roar Extreme. You could air recover up, down, left, or right in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think only in, I'm not 100% sure, but like certain characters could do their command throw on a crouched opponent, but then like it would register as a crouch throw. But only certain characters. It's weird. I don't know. Not gonna go too in depth, but yeah, with every iteration of the series, it felt like they just kept going up, kept going up. And Extreme / Primal Fury was like the only Bloody Roar that wasn't even on arcade. That's what also makes it a bit interesting. Man, Bloody Roar 4 was a heartbreaking game.
Yeah.
I remember trying to steer clear from it, but I got curious. And when I booted that game up and the opening played, it didn't feel right. And then when I actually played the game, it felt weird because the characters didn't feel as fluid or snappy as they do in Primal Fury / Extreme. And it's mainly due to the fact that the game was on the renderware engine, because at the time in 2003, there were a bunch of games that were running on that engine. So Konami, I assume, because at the time they were like becoming Hudson's majority shareholder, they wanted to like take advantage of that renderware engine and see what Bloody Roar. I know Virtua Fighter 4 was coming out around that time. I think Crash Nitro Kart. There was just a bunch of things like coming out around the time BR4 was around, and that game was just dead on arrival, bro. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
The game's B system.
Didn't they make it like into a bar, like or?
They made it into a second health bar.
Yeah.
The game is basically just stay in your beast room to win the game, bro. Like I don't know why they did it that way. I really don't. I don't know if something happened with Kenji Fukuya, the director of the series. I don't know if he was just. I don't know if they just didn't give him creative liberty on that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he just left and they just made what they could out of what they had. I really don't know. But
I remember like it's kind of like piggyback off that. As a kid, you know, I found out Bloody Roar 4 had come out, and there was no advertisement for it or anything like that.
Exactly.
There was no advertisement for it. I remember I played Bloody Roar Primal Fury. I played it all the time.
Yeah.
And I love that game. Me and my friends would play it every day, every Friday, whatever. And I found out about it by going to a video store, and so I rented it. And then I played it, and I was like, why does this not look... This doesn't look as good as Primal Fury does. This feels like it doesn't have a soul. Like, something about it feels soulless. It doesn't feel like it added anything to the series, and it wasn't fun. Like, I felt like I picked it up, and I'm like, why would I could just go and play Primal Fury, and it's a better game overall. It's more fun. It looks better, and it came out like a year or two ago, you know, compared to this thing that, you know. But it also, you have to, I mean, I also understand that the PS2 is by far, not by far, but it's a weaker console to the Xbox and GameCube. The GameCube and Xbox are both more powerful than the PS2 overall, which, you know, graphically speaking. I mean, I don't think a lot of the progressive scan things were kind of done for the PS2 until like 2004. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but the PS2 even today doesn't look particularly amazing. You know, that's kind of when they started to go into the digital age of consoles. You know, they were starting to work in that direction. But either way, yeah, Bloody Roar 4 just really didn't feel like the same game, and maybe it had to do with like Konami starting to kind of tamper with things and kind of be in there a little bit more than they should have, instead of letting Hudson Soft do their own thing.
I want a mirror backlog here because I didn't even know Bloody Roar 4 came out. Like, I loved the crap out of like Bloody Roar 2. I skipped 3 because I never proper had a GameCube.
Wait, what?
But I had a PS2. So I got 4.
Hold on.
I never had a GameCube, all right?
No,
what?
But you mentioned, you said you skipped 3 because of what?
I didn't have.
It was on PS2. It was on PS2.
Was it on PS2?
Yes.
Bloody Roar 3?
Bloody Roar 3 was on PS2 only.
3 was on PS2. Primal Fury was only on GameCube.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe that's it. I don't know. I skipped 3.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yep.
But I played 4. Unfortunately.
Mhm.
And like the only reason I even knew it came out was because I saw it in a freaking pawn shop.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so I got it for like $10. I'm like, I don't even know if this was worth $10 after I played it.
Bro.
But I never saw any advertising for it or anything. It was crazy.
What happened too, at least with 4, if I remember correctly, the two things I remember about the game was, one, they had sucked all of the color out of the game. Like, it is the like most gray, dark, muddy game I've ever seen. Like, compared to Primal Fury, like they just absorbed all the color out of it. Right? I don't know what it was, man.
They Call of Duty-fied it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I remember being so frustrated at the game that I actually got a migraine when I first played it. I was so angry. I was like, I was so angry. It's the only time I've ever rented a game, and I was like, I'm never playing this ever again. And then I like, you know, and I was just done with it, dude. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even the guest characters like aren't really that cool either. I think they like added like what, maybe 2 characters. Was it the dragon and the crow?
There was Ryoho and Mana, the puppet character, and then there was Reiji the crow. Then there was Nagi the Spirius. But then there was Dragon Ryoho, who is still Ryoho, from the same character Ryoho from the Ryoho and Mana puppet duo, but they made him a separate character as the dragon. So, yeah.
He's basically Uranus.
No, that's disrespectful to that character.
I don't mean to.
And I don't even like Uranus like that. I don't dislike her or nothing, but like, no, yeah.
No.
There was the Japanese re-release of Bloody Roar 4 with, you know, you're able to do your fuse stance. You know, your full crouch, double tap, hold down, do a fuse move. You could do that in the Japanese version. You could jump cancel in the Japanese version, but the game was still Bloody Roar 4, which was the issue.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think even like around 2003 or 2004, somewhere around there, the Bloody Roar manga with Bloody Roar the Fang. So there was a manga for it, which is, you know, Fang is a guest character from the manga. He's an extreme. He's an extra attorney legal character in extreme. And, yeah, I mean, the series got 5 games, 1 manga, and Yugo was a guest character in DreamWorks TV World Fighters. It wasn't Smash, but, you know, I have no doubts that Sakurai used that game as an inspiration for Snake and Simon for Ultimate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or well, Snake for Brawl and Simon for Smash Ultimate. I know he saw Yugo. I always wonder if Sakurai knows what Bloody Roar is. You know?
He probably definitely
I'm sure
does.
he does.
Yeah, I mean,
I would be very surprised if he doesn't.
Ironically, that man is a huge like stand for fighting games, but also doesn't always want to admit that he loves fighting games as much as he does, and he wants to call Smash a party game or whatever, and at least he did, you know, back in the day. And now I think he just sort of embraces that it's a fighter. But
platform fighter.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like, that has given Smash a sort of like stigma. Like, some people will just say straight out Smash is not a fighting game even now, which is such a weird argument to make when I mean, look, I personally think it is, and you know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I mean, what is a fighting game really? A fighting game is a large, you know, it has so many different meanings and different forms. You know.
I mean, right now Smash is just kind of a building game because people just play Steve and win automatically, pretty much. So.
All right,
Oh,
all right, what else do y'all have to ask or say?
Oh, sorry about that. So in 2012, Hudson Soft had ceased to exist as a company and merged with Konami Digital. And then I guess all of the rights of the Hudson Soft games got into the Konami void, which, hey, look, let's face it, we're all suffering from that void until
void.
Fairly recently with, you know, like Castlevania kind of not really having a game for a long time and other, you know, titles. And like it only seems now, I think it's largely to do with Konami going into the pachinko business for that, you know, that period of time and, you know, wanting to make only that. You know, I remember being pretty angry about that back in the day, but
oh yeah, furious.
So like moving on, I think the only kind of more recent, I know you had some more recent Bloody Roar news, but we had the Bloody Roar 2 redub, which I had, you know, we had learned about a little while ago. It was in February of 2001 and essentially was a I mean, it was released. I apologize. It was released February 2001 on Twitter. Right?
2001, bro. 2001.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. 2021. 2021.
Okay,
my bad.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad. So basically, Bloody Roar 2 Redub is a fan project consisting of new English voice actors who had made it as like a COVID project. And it was like helmed by Casey Mangilo, who's like the Mangelo. Yeah, thank you. Who's the voice actor for Shinji Ikari for Evangelion, Mika from actually I'm not sure what game this is, but it says R. So and then like Shin Megami Tensei and then Chainsaw Man. I apologize here. And then, you know, it had a huge cast of people, of professional voice actors, Bill Butts, Keela Mills, Casey Mangilo, Mangelo, River Vitale, Will Rogers, Lisa Ortiz, Kaiji Tang, Xander Mobius, Morgan Berry, Eddie Carrera Jr., Kira Buckland, and Eddie Bosco. And so they had done a complete redub of this game, which I think is amazing. That's one of the coolest things I think came out of the COVID virus, you know, little bubble of time there, was that somebody went back and said, hey, look, I really love this series. And I guess you know, I'm gonna go ahead and mispronounce his name again, but
Casey.
Casey. It's gonna bother the heck. Yeah. It's gonna bother the hell out of Jeri.
What's
Casey.
his last name?
So Casey had, you know, just gotten into the series, and he said, "Oh, this game's really cool," and he learned how to like reconfigure PS1 files. So they had redubbed the entire game and re-released it onto Twitter.
That's amazing.
And the entire project took, I believe, a year to completely go through and finish. And I didn't even find out about it until it dropped. I wasn't following it too deeply.
I didn't find out about it until now.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so
I'll have to look it up.
The way that happened was Casey visited a store in Cali that sold retro games. I think it was a game store, I'm pretty sure. And Bloody Roar 1 was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they picked up the Japanese version of BR1 or the English version. I'm not entirely sure, but I know they played it and they think, yo, this game's fire. But, you know, they weren't really feeling it like that. So then they saw 2 at one point, and then they got 2. And they played the Japanese version of 2 and loved the way that Kenji sounded, Bakri, the successor, not the first one from BR1, but the other Bakri that debuted in BR2. they loved how he sounded in Japanese from the female voice actress. I forget her name, but she did a wonderful job like voicing that character, and that inspired Casey. And they thought, you know what? After playing the English version, they thought, you know what? I think it'd be cool if we just gave this some fresh new audio. And that's exactly what Casey and Kira did. So they gathered their friends, told them about the whole thing, and then everybody was down to do it for free, no penny. And yeah, they killed it. And then at some point, they came into the Bloody Roar server after finding it on the Reddit, after seeing my videos and a few others' videos. And then we introduced each other because they were talking about how like they want to try to like get it official, like released and everything. And I was joking with them in the chat. This was before I went live that night. This was 3 years ago, 20. But I was telling them like, yo, hook me up with an early copy or whatever, a free copy. And they were like, oh yeah, I mean, you know, I'm down to like talk about it if you want. And I was like, the freak. So then I like hopped into the VC and they introduced themselves. They're like, hey, I'm Casey Mangelo. I'm a voice actor, Los Angeles, California, and I'm working on Redub. I voiced Bakuryu, voiced Kenji. Kira Bunklin voices Yuriko no Nomura, and he said that, when he said that, when they said that, when Mewtwo said that, that's what I call them sometimes. But anyway,
Gotcha. Okay.
when they said that, I lost my mind because like I actually started crying, bro, because I have a brief history with Kira Bunklin before I even graduated high school back in 2017.
Oh, really?
I DM'd her. And I like dropped some bread on her Ko-Fi coffee thing, but I put myself in the negatives like an idiot, not knowing what that would do. So I got scared and I told her about it, and she felt bad about it. But over time, you know, eventually when I met Casey in the Bloody Roar server, and they were telling me Yuriko is voiced by Kira, and Yuriko is my favorite character, and I knew who Kira was. I was like, what the heck? I was like, you know who Kira is? And they were like, yeah. And then they told me like, yeah, she's sitting right behind me. She was playing freaking Animal Crossing, bro, on the Switch. And she was like, hey, or whatever. And then I lore dumped what happened when I put myself in the negatives a long time ago because of her. And she was trying to remember it, but Kira couldn't remember. And it was probably because she tried to block that memory out of her head because she felt bad about me doing that. So it was just funny, bro. So, you know, to have like a VA that you like for their other work, voice your favorite, one of your your favorite fighting game character for your main fighting game, like, nah, bro, I teared up. It was crazy. So
That's amazing.
Ever since then,
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, ever since then, like, I've been cool with them since that day, like since we spoke for the first. Eventually, I introduced them to other people.
You're cutting out just a little bit. I don't know if you want to like move the microphone a little bit closer to you.
Okay. So, what was the last thing you heard me say?
Oh no, I heard you. It's just like the ending bit of the words.
Just dropping a couple words.
We'll just drop like the syllables, you know, sounding out.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So like we've been cool for 3 years, like since then. And when I first spoke to Casey and they told me Kira was voicing Yuriko, I lost my mind. I started crying. Because like, damn, one of my favorite VAs is voicing my favorite fighting game character for my main fighting game. It was just a lot to take in. It was really cool. Ever since then, like, we've been kicking it since, and like I even got Kira on my last album too, and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
And she helped me with something recently for Combo Breaker next year for 2024. I'm not gonna go into detail about that, but she came through for me recently too. So yeah.
Man, it kind of makes me wish like we had like another lockdown. Maybe they could do the rest of the series. You know what I mean? I will take that hit. You know?
All right. That's first of all, that is insane to say. Secondly,
yeah, I don't know.
Secondly, bro, I actually have a build that Casey did for me where they're actually over Kenji in Bloody Roar 3, and I have a build of them in Extreme as Kenji. You know, Bakuryu. So it's definitely possible, but being as though like the PS1, PS2, and GameCube, like the coding structure is gonna be different.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a while. It's gonna be hella hard, and no, it's not out the realm of like possibilities. It's definitely possible, but the PS2 is like such a pain to work with, which is why that would take forever, and they would have to like compensate. They would have to pay like the actors this time, like if they're gonna do that. It would be a while. They definitely have thought about doing it. They have done it. You know, I have a build with them as, you know, Bakuryu and everything. But and I even have a Bloody Roar 1 build with Kaylee Mills as Alice, like she is in the BR2 redub. I have a BR1 build of that, so like it's not impossible. It just depends on like what's going on, and you know, if they have the time to do that.
Yeah.
But they definitely can do it.
And who knows, like maybe if we get that, you know, that Bloody Roar 5, like they'll just bring them back, just say, hey, look, you guys did a fantastic job in that first game, and like even then, I'm sure it makes a fantastic like demo reel for them in general.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I mean, did they say why they were revoicing? I mean, I know they said that they wanted to bring the intensity of the Japanese dub to to an English dub. But did they say they were also using it specifically as a demo reel, or?
I don't think that's ever been discussed. They just did it because they wanted to, because they really liked the game. They thought it was dope. You know, they thought it was an underrated or underappreciated series. So they said, you know what, let's tackle BR2. Let's do something with it. So they added their own little spin to it.
Yeah. And then I suppose
Crazy.
Kind of like getting into the gameplay of the game, starting to kind of like wrap up here. So Bloody Roar really feels like can be best described as like it's a very experimental 3D fighter. It's the closest thing I can kind of relate it to is like Tekken or Soul Calibur, and like sort of the way it plays in that 3D format, but also has like elements of like hyper fighters like Marvel or even like Air Dashers in sort of like how experimental it was. And so this is like one of the things that like I find very frustrating about the game is when I looked up like reviews of the game, some people said, well, there's nothing really special about it, and I'm like, well, there's no other fighting game like it. It's incredibly unique for the time period, and there's no real game that feels like it in terms of its sort of systems. What do you think in particular like sets the gameplay of Bloody Roar apart from its other 3D counterparts?
Woo!
Sorry, man.
No. That's a great.
How much time we got left?
No. It's fine, bro. That's a great question. I wooed because that's a great question, man. Like, first of all, I'm about to just list off like all the mechanics in Bloody Roar. Like, I'm starting from extreme because that's the most in depth it's gotten.
Sure.
All right. So, first of all, you have your human form, you have your beast form, you have your hyper form. That's already 3 characters in Marvel right there, low-key, when you think about it. There's air recovery, there's air evading, there's air recovery in 4 different directions, there's light guard, there's heavy guard, there's guard breaks, there's you being able to jump higher when you're in your beast form. You weigh more when you're in your beast form. You can jump off of walls. Sidestepping is more so used for positioning rather than dodging. In the US version of BR3 and in Primal Fury, when you sidestep, the tracking was busted. So when you sidestep, you avoid everything when it's not supposed to be like that. Oh yeah, and there's the evade mechanic, which is the point of dodging moves instead of sidestepping. It's not trying to be like Tekken. It's not trying to be like Virtua Fighter. Not trying to be like Soul Cal. It's not trying to be like any of those games. Its defensive system is very, I would say it's akin to like a 2D game rather than like anything 3D related. You can only compare it on a surface level to Tekken or Soul Cal or VF. If like, because of the fact that it's 3D, that's really it. Other than that, they don't play the same at all. Like, there's just a lot in Bloody Roar that a lot of its 3D contemporaries don't have, which is not a bad thing. I'm just re-emphasizing that or prefacing that because that's something that Bloody Roar is only Bloody Roar is the only like fighting game that's capable of like doing all that in a cohesive. Like, you're not gonna sit here and tell me Bloody Roar is not faster than Tekken. It's a fast fighter.
Yeah,
It's a hyper fighter. It's Bloody Roar so fast.
Yeah.
and like even then, it's like sort of it's in that era of fighting games that I love, to where they could make weird, like experimental games, and they could just do whatever they wanted and just try it, because the games weren't as expensive to make at that time.
Yep.
So you had all like, it's like, well, what if we made a game where you could transform in the middle of a match and like,
and here's the thing, man. If you go back to the interviews, I think it was the Bloody Roar 2 one or the Bloody Roar 3 one, or even the Primal Fury one. Kenji Fukuya seemed so enthusiastic about evolving the Beastorizer system. That's what he calls the Beast system.
Yeah.
He was so, like, you could just tell from what you read, like, he was really into this shit. Pardon my French. I try not to cuss in this podcast. That's my second time doing it.
It's all good.
Do it again. Yeah,
How dare you?
I know. I'm just trying to be, PG for the kids and stuff. But yeah, so like, he seemed so in love with what he was doing, and for it to just not evolve past what it could, like, after Dream is like, it's crazy, and again, it just going back to that whole BR4 thing, it just makes me wonder, like, why did that happen the way it did? It was a step backwards in like a lot of aspects. And I know how I would evolve the system, by just taking inspiration from Bloody Roar Extreme and Bloody Roar 3 in particular. I would make a game. I'm not going to talk about narrative or I'm not talking about none of that. Characters I'm bringing back, I ain't talking about none of that. Just like the core gameplay. Go back to the drawing board. Do what you had in Extreme. Take a note from Bloody Roar 3 as well, where I would make the B system to where you could hyper anytime you wanted, essentially, just like you can in Extreme already, but your health is still going to get sacrificed. However, you're not going to be stuck in your human form after like you are in 3, and you can still go hyper in your beast form or your human form. However, if you like, after that, you can't go hyper again. So you can still go in your beast form, but you can't go hyper if you hyper prematurely. But you'll still have your beast form intact and your human form. And you can only go into your hyper form, like, if your beast gauge is full. That way you don't sacrifice anything. So it still incentivizes to play your character at their absolute best.
So
that's what I would do.
Do you think it should be like so it sounds like it should be sort of like a Guilty Gear. Like, how you have the insta kill, you know what I mean? And then if you use the insta kill round 1, you lose it for round 2. Like, is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. You could make a comparison like that to it. Yeah. You just can't go hyper for the rest of the set.
And
you know what I mean? 'Cause
and to kind of like ask you for this from a competitive standpoint. Does going hyper, because I know I was watching people use Hyper Beast as a get out of jail free card and sort of like positions,
in certain situations.
Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna lose if I don't Hyper Beast here because I'm gonna have to eat this mix up or whatever, and so does that prolong the game in a way that you think feels unfair, or do you think it would just be unfriendly for newer players?
I wouldn't say unfair, but I could see how it could be a turnoff for people. I mean, there's Jubei, another community member of the Bloody Roar Discord community in general. He doesn't like Bloody Roar Extreme's hyper system because of what you were just describing.
Right.
He doesn't see it as fair. I don't think it's unfair. I just think it is. I think it could be unappealing. You know what I mean? Because in Bloody Roar 3, for example, if you hyper, if you're gonna use that, you better win, because after that, like, you can't transform ever again. Like, for the rest of the set, you have to survive as a human. In Bloody Roar Extreme, it's the opposite, but like, there is a risk reward there. Like, if you hyper prematurely, you're gonna sacrifice health, but you better win, because if you don't, then you just did that for nothing. You know what I mean? I don't think it's unfair, but I can see how it's unappealing or unfriendly.
Yeah. What do you think about making Super Strike invulnerable?
What do you mean? Elaborate a bit.
Okay, so from what I could tell in Bloody Roar, while playing Bloody Roar Extreme, the supers in general, or the
Beast drives?
the beast drives, drives were not strike invulnerable. So like you could, if somebody, presses a button at the right time, they could jab you at a beast drive, and that happened a lot. Do you think that those should be strike invulnerable? Like, I do. I personally think they should be, because I feel
like so you're saying like if I predict that you're gonna do a beast drive and I pop you out of it, like the screen flashes where like you're about to do it, but then it doesn't happen. You don't want that. That's what you're saying, right?
I want beast drives to be like you got to worry about pressing a button in this situation, because I could beast drive. You need to bait it out. You bait it out, and then you should be able to punish it that way. But if I predict that you're going to press at this moment, I should be able to counter beast drive you. So like I feel like that there's that, because a lot of times I felt while playing the game, I would beast drive and people would just happen to hit me out of it a lot of times. And I was like, I'm so used to modern fighting games where, well, I mean, Street Fighter 6 has changed that quite a bit, because some of the supers are like, I mean, sorry if I use the word strike invulnerable, but like if you hit, you can be hit out of a lot of them. Like I just want to be able to raw super in certain situations, because I'm behind. I want to be able to raw super. I want to be able to wake up Superman.
Degenerate.
I want that. I don't know about that. I mean, like maybe give it to me in Hyper Beast or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe
that would make
where you can spam supers.
That would make Hyper Beast extreme. First of all, you could already do like 3 or 4 consecutive beast drives in your hyper form, because you don't revert back to human. Secondly, I'm gonna have to humbly disagree with that.
That's fair.
I would
Thank you.
I would not want that, just simply due to the fact that if I know how a certain beast drive works, like Fang's beast drive, for example, his Wolfgang Silver, that's a move he has specifically to him. Once he hits you, he drains you out your beast form entirely. He could do that at the end of a first round if your beast gauge is full, like you're ready to transform to the next one. He could knock that out for the second round. You won't be able to transform. You'll have to like earn that meter back. Or Kronos' like beast drive, where he drains you of your beast gauge as well. It's a command grab beast drive. He'll drain you of yours, but keep his. But stay in his hyper form. If I am fighting a Kronos running at me in that giant chicken phoenix form, bro, and they're about to command grab me, I'm gonna jump, because I'm not giving you my meter. I don't want that, because what you're saying is you want to raw super someone, but also keep your hyper form and drain someone of theirs. Just like I don't know, I can't rock with that.
Like I feel like mind you, this is a blanket statement for a fighting game. None of that's not very, like, I don't know all of the layers to which drive should or should not have that, right?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not talking about what beast drive. I'm just giving you like good examples of I'm giving you examples of. I'm expressing to you how in depth the game can get. Yeah. Because no one's gonna think, okay, I'm gonna use Fang's Wolfgang Silver on this person while they're, because when you knock out a character, sometimes depending on what move you use, they'll drop to their knees, but they're still vulnerable to a grab or a low poke, and then you can restand them, and then you can do another move. But if I knock somebody out and I use my Wolfgang Silver on them and their beast change is like flashing on the screen, I don't want them to transform in round 1. I want neutral to be reset. Yeah. Period. So, if someone knows I'm gonna do that, if I know, that's a crazy question to ask me. I'm sorry. Like,
look, it's okay.
I do not want
fun.
Strike and vulnerable like beast drives. Like I wouldn't want that, bro. Because some beast drives
sounds so bad.
Yeah, some beast drives guard break. So if I know someone's gonna whip out a beast drive, if it's just a habit or a pattern I noticed in their playstyle, I'm going to like heavy block it so they don't break my guard. And boom, they wasted meter. That's on them. That's their fault. If a Kronos is running towards me and I know their beast gauge is about to run out and they want to stay in that busted ass Phoenix form, I'm gonna jump so they don't command grab me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or I'm gonna slide, hit them with the 8-frame slide to counter hit them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So Yeah, no, I
Uh,
wouldn't want that.
fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
so okay, so if you were going to, did we talk about like your theoretical Bloody Roar 5? Did we talk about that? Because I feel like I want to I want hypothetical Bloody Roar 5, because I want to close out on that, the future Bloody Roar 5. What do you if you were going to make your Bloody Roar 5 for a modern age, what would you do to change it, to kind of like bring it to a modern era?
Well, I would bring back all the modes that not the characters, but that the game, that Extreme had. You know, kids mode, big arm mode, big head mode. I would bring back like the camera, different cameras that you could have in Bloody Roar 1. I would bring back every character would have like more than like 5 or 6 costumes, not simple like recolors. I mean like actual costumes going across from like all the games in the series. I would give Yuriko her green-haired beast form as our hyper form, because if Kronos could have a penguin form, Phoenix form, I don't know why she can't have her half beast and have her green-haired form. That would be fire if she had that. And again, going back to the whole beast system thing, I would just make it like Extreme, where you can hyper if your beast gauge isn't full, but you do sacrifice health, and you can't go hyper for the rest of the set.
Yep.
However, if you do hyper when it's full, then you don't sacrifice health. You can go hyper within the next part of the match or next round in the match or whatever. I feel like that would be good. But part of me also feels like a lot of people, I don't know. In a weird way, I feel like that might be a bit more complex what BR3 and Bloody Roar Extreme are like as standalone titles. So asking me like what I would do for casual players, I would simply include just content that's good for people that want to play the game alone or just casually. I'm gonna tell you right now, I haven't thought that far ahead, but I do know what I would do to the beast system anyway. I would take inspiration from what we have with Extreme and also what we have with Bloody Roar 3, and I would include content from Bloody Roar Extreme and even Bloody Roar 1 and 2. It would just like kind of maintain or retain all the elements or the things that made each and every game special into one game. And if you're gonna ask me, would I bring back like the Bloody Roar 4 characters? There are ways you can make them work. Reiji could just be like a messed up zoanthrope on the streets who was a crow. I mean, look at him. Like if you just look at him, like he just looks like someone you would see on the streets. Nagi could just be like someone that unfortunately was involved in I don't know. They got I don't know. A piece of Shion's blood like was injected into her from a separate division of Tylon, and that's how she became like 2% of the unborn. That's why she's a spurious, because she's not true, which she's not the true form of something, which is the unborn, which is what she was made from. Ryoho and Mana, honestly, they could be fine as a puppet character. Just don't bring that dragon BS into this scenario. They could work. You know what I mean? Mana could still be the beast. Ryoho could be the human.
Maybe G.
Wait, what?
Bring back G.
Oh yeah, Greg.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Greg's kind of a no-brainer. Like, bro, he runs a circus. Like, maybe he just found a new career. Maybe he's an office man now or something. I don't know. Like, you could do something with that. And Fox was never like really confirmed to be dead. He just never appeared again, and other characters took his moves. Jenny, Shion, and Kronos got his stuff, but bring him back.
I think it would be cool to like have Uranus come back, but have a rebalanced version of her, like like an actual viable, like tournament version of that character would be cool.
You know, Uranus. I feel like it'd be cool. I feel like that would be nice. But I also feel like that would kind of take away how she was introduced in the series in the first place. So what I would do with her personally, at least for the narrative part of things, I think it would be interesting if Uranus, because when Bloody Roar 3 added Koryu and Uranus to the game, they didn't have their own stories in the game. They were just kind of tossed in there as bonus unlockables or whatever, which is cool. But Koryu is basically the Bakuryu from the first game, but they took his liquefied remains after he melted, put it into an iron mole, and then Koryu was born. You could do something with that for Bakuryu and the OG Bakuryu, old Bakuryu versus the successor that he trained / brainwashed, but now he has no real sentience. He's just a robot operating on a command to kill Bakuryu. And then with Yuriko, you know, she was kidnapped and experimented on in the first game, which is why she has that green-haired woman modified beast form and the Chimera form. Uranus is Yuriko's data converted into a more suppressed version of what Yuriko was in Bloody Roar 1. Like, you see Uranus floating and turned into a Chimera, that's legitimately Yuriko from Bloody Roar 1. If you took Uranus and made her some type of antagonist where Yuriko actually manages at some point, she's older, and she's like, she's mastered the green-haired form, you know what I mean? She could use that form. Because here's the thing, with the difference between Uranus and Yuriko is that Uranus, while she can consistently transform into her Chimera form and everything, Yuriko can't transform into her most powerful beast form, which is the green-haired form. She has the half-beast form instead. But if she mastered that and was able to like tap into that, she would be stronger than Uranus, and she could beat her, and she could like defeat her, not kill her per se, but beat her, and then maybe Uranus can understand and realize like, okay, maybe there's more to life than just destruction. I mean, she literally has like cuffs on her wrist that says like take off before a fight. She's a lab rat, but she doesn't have to be. So if you just go down that route and make her like her own, give her her own little arc where Yuriko has to face her and stop her or whatever, and you know, she doesn't befriend Yuriko and Yugo and Alice and the rest of the cast, but she just kind of does her own thing. That'd be cool. And then with Koryu, he just dies because he already melted in BR1. You thought he would be done by then, because in BR2 they introduced Kenji as a successor, and Yugo took him in like a little brother. You know what I mean? He's starting a new life and everything. And then he comes back in 3, and it's like, why are you here? Like, Bakuryu just has to kill him. You have to kill the same person that kidnapped and brainwashed you. You know, except it's not actually him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it kind of creates like this somber, like this. I don't know. It's interesting. I think it'd be.
Maybe they could just do like a shadow, like a clone of like a bonus costume unlock of the character or something like that, but not have him like be like a story character or something, just for the people that want to play with him as the Iron Mole. I don't know.
I mean, look, I'm good. I'm fine with him like being on the roster. You know what I mean? But in the main story, he just died. That's it. It's like Future Gohan dies in Dragon Ball, but you see him in like hella Dragon Ball games. You could play him. You know, that's just that's what I would do. You know?
Or Dragon Ball Heroes, because but it's Dragon Ball Heroes, so
it's
whatever.
Talk about that.
Why not?
But Jeri, where can people find you, man?
You can find me on twitter.com/JeriTheOG and or twitter.com/jerimiahisaiah. You can find me you can find me on YouTube at JeriTheOG or Jerimiahisaiah. You can find me at twitch.tv/Jerimiahisaiah, and I have an Instagram under JeriTheOG or Jerimiahisaiah, something like that. I got those. Either or works. You can find me there. I play a lot of Bloody Roar. In fact, I got it running on my TV right now.
Hey.
And you can find me everywhere. Almost. Don't try to find me everywhere. That's weird. But yeah.
Jeri's socials will be linked in the description, along with the Bloody Roar Discord. If you want to add your own Discord as well, I can add it in there too, just in case people want.
Community Discord.
Yeah, whichever. Yeah, if is it the same Bloody Roar Discord that you sent me before, or?
That's the Bloody Roar server. I have a community server for my like YouTube, Twitch, and whatever happens in my life type thing. So I mean, I can send it later or something.
Either way, socials, Discords will be linked in the description. Quintessence, where can people find you, man?
Sometimes streaming on Twitch. Haven't really been doing that much. Posting memes on Twitter. All Quintessence HD. All the time, baby.
All right, man. Well, you can find the backlog on all the socials, and we're streaming on every single podcast service. Soon to be TikTok whenever that kind of gets settled in. But until then, guys, this has been the Backlog Podcast number 62. We'll see you soon. Peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.
Later.